Oh, hey Ash, how are you?
Doing pretty good. I'm kind of just chilling in the evening, so I'm not in. It's kind of the house is dark. Everyone's already in bed. Kids are all asleep.
Ah, family man, me too, man. My kids are in bed across the street, so that's why I'm over here. But yeah, that's dude, it's so nice to see you. I had a little inkling that maybe you might show up. I don't know, but it's great to have you here, man.
I was literally watching just videos on YouTube, and I see my face on a thumbnail. I'm like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, sorry. What I did is it's kind of unoriginal, but I downloaded your thumbnail and then I just erased I don't know, like 30% of it and then put my picture on there. And
I
yeah,
want
but
to be very clear. I wasn't trying to bash Jimmy Akin or Trent Horn. It was just showing different people's
yeah,
opinions in the space online.
I don't think anyone got that impression.
Oh,
I didn't.
somebody told me that.
Oh, why?
I don't know.
You have a triple beam cross, a Catholic cross, and a Protestant cross. Jimmy Akin, Trent Horn, and who was the other? James White, right?
James White, the guy who said that Saint Ignatius didn't exist.
Yeah. No, we love James White, man. We do. I mean, hey, just because we disagree with him and he says
I do have to say, James White and the other guy, when I was very, very new to learning about Christianity, I come from an Orthodox Jewish background. When I was very new to it, they were the first people whose videos I watched. And their stance on abortion specifically was something that drew me in. So I have to give them credit where credit's due.
Yes. Amen. Now, I have a question. I'm just so intrigued. How did you come, I mean, in a condensed version, how did you come to the conclusion that Christianity is true, being, from a Jewish background?
So I had kind of a friend, personal mentor. I'm actually from Israel. I don't live in Israel anymore. Unfortunately, just life takes you different places. But friend and mentor who is a Messianic Jew there, who gave me a copy of like a full Bible with New Testament, and I never opened it. Just didn't get around to it. Wasn't particularly interested. Years later, living in the United States, having moved, suddenly I'm listening to like American politics podcasts because I'm not from the United States and I'm trying to understand like the political situation, let's say, and everyone is talking about proof of the resurrection.
Yeah.
Everyone. And so I start looking into it, and I decided I ordered a Bible on Amazon, and I decided to sit down. I'm like, oh, I'll read the Gospels, I guess. And I intended to sit down and read a few pages. I ended up reading from the beginning of Matthew all the way to somewhere towards the end of Luke. And I was just specifically the event of the crucifixion and what happened there blew me away. That was kind of the first peek at it. I told my wife, she was sitting there in the kitchen, and I was like, do you know what happened here? And specifically, something that also struck us both was Mary standing there at the cross. So that has always stayed with both of us. Then I started to read more. I had a lot of issues with contradictions and all kinds of stuff like that. I actually interviewed Tuvia Singer at one point, and found him incredibly dishonest. He gave me his whole spiel, and then when I asked about his opinions on Rabbinic Judaism, which I had left behind already at that point, conversation was over. And through further exploration, I kind of just didn't know what to do. I kind of forgot about the whole thing for a long time. And then this past December, I don't know, I don't even remember the point where it was, but I'm just like, yeah, this is the truth. I don't even remember what happened. Like, I don't remember the turning point where I was like, this is the truth. Like, I don't know.
Wow. That's awesome, man. So here's my question now. Like, so where you're at presently, are you searching, different YouTube channels, different books? Are you visiting churches?
I try to avoid YouTube opinions for the most part. which I think was really smart. I watch YouTube videos, I hear people's opinions, but I don't take anyone's opinion seriously. I've been reading the Bible. I've been reading the early church fathers a little bit. And I have a few people that I've been consulting with. I've mostly been leaning Catholic the entire time. I was struggling with a few things coming from a Jewish background. The idea that certain things that were said about all religions worshiping the same God and so on, coming from a Jewish background and knowing that's not true. I actually had a conversation with somebody for over an hour today that explained things in more depth than anyone gave me the time for, and resolved that issue for me.
Whoa. I bet I could take a stab at that, who that was.
Who do you think it was?
I get 3 guesses. I don't think it's Elijah. Well, I was going to say Elijah Yassi or William Albrecht or Divine Mercy Apologetics.
It's one of them.
Okay, we don't have to say who. Yeah, that's great though. That's great. Well,
he explained it in a way that made sense to me on 3 different fronts. So biblically, he explained why. And then also coming at this from an intellectual perspective. I'm no philosopher, but being able to clarify it for me from a philosophical perspective as well, and on a moral perspective, like what the purpose of it is. Because one of the reasons I early rejected anything akin to Calvinism was I can't for a moment accept the idea that God creates people for the purpose of burning in hell.
Right.
So that was a no-go for me. And put into the correct context, I kind of had that issue resolved for me today.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is I've been doing this almost for a year now, and many Eastern Orthodox and Protestants that have come up on this channel and wanted to debate me or challenge me, because I'm a Catholic, is precisely on, it's Lumen Gentium, paragraph 16, but the worship and the belief of the same God as Muslims and Jews. So that's like, I've done enough research on that topic, whereas we reacted to your video in a nice charitable way. We didn't tear you apart or anything, but yeah, where we really went into detail.
It's okay if you did. I'm happy to be corrected. My expertise is debunking claims of rabbinic Judaism. I've been studying Christianity for a while now, but I'm by no means an expert. So if I get shredded on my opinions, I'm perfectly happy with that.
No, we're not, dude. My channel is not about that at all. Not at all. Even if you were just really, really wrong, no. But I did appreciate, though, in your video how you mentioned how Protestants will use this claim that the Jews, whatever that means, because there are different sects, obviously, first century Palestine, had this canon, apparently. 22 books stretched out to 39 or whatever. And you made the illogical, rational observation that why would you trust, as Christians in the Christian community, as the church, why would you trust, 1st, 2nd, 3rd century Jews with your canon? A lot of Protestants will claim that the Pharisees had a set canon. And I'm just like, where do you get that from? You can't find that anywhere. If you were to go to Pharisees in the 1st century and even use the word or mention the word canon, I know that's an English word, but you know what I mean? They would be like, what are you talking about? Because their canon, the 39 book or whatever, it really came through Jewish schools of thoughts. They didn't have councils.
Well,
Jews.
I popped into a stream with what's his name? Ryan Needs God.
Oh, needgod.net. Oh boy. Okay. All right.
And he was very nice to me. I was very nice to him. I had some questions that I was asking because I had heard his stances, and I was like, he was quoting Josephus as the source for how they know what the books are, and I'm like, Josephus was dishonest about a lot of things, and Josephus got a lot of things wrong. Like, I don't know why that's an answer either. Is Josephus a Christian? Why are you taking his opinion? And then when I brought up things like intercession of the saints, which I have no problem with and never did, I cited that there are sources before there's any pagan, Babylonian, or Roman influence of early Jewish beliefs in intercession of saints, including like a famous first century Rabbi Hanina going, like, encouraging people to go to cemeteries and beg for intercession. So and he's like, where's your source? And I forgot the exact source for it, like in the Mishnah, but it's like, I've never had a problem with any of those things.
Yeah, so, I mean, your experience with Ryan was good, though. I mean, he was cordial and nice.
He was cordial. It was very nice. I'm not a Christian apologist. I don't know how to answer a lot of the stuff on the Christian perspective. So I just didn't bother with that. I was curious to hear his opinion on it, because I'd heard him talking about things from the Jewish perspective. And I'm like, I don't think you know what the Jewish perspective is.
Right. I mean, I don't want to be mean, but I think Ryan's a really nice guy. Obviously he's set in his beliefs and he's going to defend them the way he sees suitable or whatever. So I'm glad you're going on other channels. You know what I mean? It's brave. I don't know. Like, it is. I don't know if
YouTube, I do it because I like doing it. I've gotten a bunch of subscribers recently. It's not my job. Like, it's not about money for me. I would love if I could make it that way, but I'm doing this for truth. I'm doing this to learn, and I'm doing this. I like to challenge people. I'm not going to sit here if I'm seeking truth and just sit on my backside at home and not do anything about it.
Yeah, I have a bunch of people praying for you, and I don't know if some new people that joined since we were reacting to your video, I would urge you guys to pray for. Now, is your name Ash short for Asher?
That's correct.
I knew it. Tribe of Israel. I called it. I'm on record. Like, I bet you his name is Asher. But yeah, I got a bunch of people praying for you, and likewise with these people here now. If you want to pray for Asher here, and just really for God to guide you where He wants to guide you.
After the conversation today, I've been thinking about it for almost a year now, and have not gotten in the car and made the trip. But within 40 minutes distance from me, there are 3 churches. One is Eastern Orthodox, 2 are Catholic, and one of the Catholic ones is an Eastern Catholic church.
Ah, yes.
And that's probably where I'm going to go be visiting in the next few weeks, and starting that more tangible process.
Yeah, we got some, Mike's here says praying for you, Asher. This Tanner says this guy is dope. We love Asher. I love this man. We'll say a prayer for him. Yeah, that's what we do here. I'm not here to proselytize.
Sorry, what is your first name?
Eric.
Eric. Pleasure to meet you, by the way.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you too, Asher. Yeah, I'm all about ecumenism and charity, and we don't push anything on anyone.
My wife came to me earlier today. She's like, do you know that the Eastern Orthodox think that's like the biggest heresy?
Yeah, ecumenism. Yeah, I know. Well, hey, I don't want to be mean, because I have a lot of Eastern
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, I have a lot of Eastern Orthodox friends. I have one on right now, so I don't try to bash them at all. But
no, I have the utmost respect for that. As a newcomer to all of this, I hear about all the different things and opinions going on, and I'm just like, I want to filter out the noise and just focus on what's true and just move towards that.
Yeah. But ecumenism it's in my blood. It is, I breathe it. It's everything. And I mean, maybe Eastern Orthodox, they have a misunderstanding of what it really is and what it means. Because I think they look at it as like, oh, we're just indifferent. Everybody just believe whatever you want. We're all one. We're all syncretists, blah, blah, blah. That's just like the farthest thing from the truth. Ecumenism is just basically desiring the salvation of all people, and to go and have relationships and interfaith dialogue with those people. It's not just to give up what we believe in and compromise everything just so we can all be, one happy family or anything. So yeah, ecumenism for me has helped. Again, I'm not saying I converted anybody, but it's helped me lead people to, find the faith or whatever, and stuff like that. So yeah, it saddens me, because I've heard of Eastern Orthodox priests say, not all of them, but some of them say that ecumenism is heresy of the Roman Church. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, Jesus was an ecumenist, man. He was.
Coming to this from the outside, like as a newcomer, I'm just like, you guys make it so hard. Can't you just get along?
Yeah.
Like, that would be so nice if you made the decision easier on everyone else trying.
Absolutely. Gecko asks you, Asher, what verse convicted you the most? If
As
there's
to the
one.
truth of like the
Mhm.
veracity of the gospel, I
Sure.
think the historical claims and the theological claims more so even than any specific prophecy. I tried to talk to a friend about that, and he actually understood also and is now on the same journey that I am. Because I'm like, you could debate till the end of your life about which verses say which, and which prophecies are fulfilled and which prophecy. Like, you can debate that back and forth and be convinced by one person and then another. But the historical claims are. I realized it was put to me like this: there is more evidence to the resurrection than any other event in history, and you accept all of the other ones. You accepted
Amen.
that Alexander the Great lived, even though the earliest writings are 100 years after his life at least, claiming that they're based on earlier writings.
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard of the motives of credibility. It's theological notes. Basically, why the church is credible. Why, not just like this thing of supernatural faith, but actual evidence, tangible evidence of history and everything else that goes along with that. And if you look at Catholicism, we have thousands of martyrs and saints, but thousands of people that have shed their blood for this supposed resurrection event.
Right. And specifically of people that would have known if it was true or not.
Yes. Yes. And
I
again, that's
actually,
yeah.
on the philosophical side, though, I just wanted to add that speaking of Eastern Orthodox, I actually I watched one of his videos. I just saw him on a podcast recently or a stream recently, but Jay Dyer, um, his argument on the transcendental argument for God, right?
Mhm.
That he's really popular for, apparently. I don't necessarily think it's the strongest argument with atheists for the existence of God, but once you believe in God and you take those parameters, it can only be the Christian God.
Mhm.
Meaning, from a Jewish perspective, there's no universality there. Like, modern Judaism tries to fit it in, but if this is the truth of God's will for mankind, it can't be ethnocentric or cultural, right? It has to be
Mhm.
universal. Um, so that was a big, that was actually, a big motivator for me to look in that direction.
Yeah, that's one of the motives of credibility are the four marks of the church, namely the Catholicity or the universality. And again, I love my Eastern Orthodox brethren, but I just and I'm talking like a 10-year-old right now. I just don't see the mark of Catholicity in Eastern Orthodoxy. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be triumphalistic, but I'm sorry, and if you go back 1,000 years, or I'm sorry, the past 1,000 years, Christ's divine mandate, go into all nations and literally make disciples of all nations until I come back. The last 1,000 years, I don't see the Eastern Orthodox doing that. I mean, just think about the New World and exploring the New World. So all the Americas, South, North, and all that stuff. You don't have Eastern Orthodox explorers or going into the countries. I mean, you have Protestants, but most of them were Catholic. All of
Right.
South America is Catholic. That's because of Portugal and Spanish explorers. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, so it's tough for me. I don't know. I've heard all the arguments, and I'm not convinced. And I love my Eastern Orthodox brothers and sisters, and I want us to be one. My gosh, I want us to be one. I'd spill my blood for us to be one. But still, I
Even
just
coming in from the outside, like new to this, I'm like, it would be so nice, right? Wouldn't it?
yes. Oh my gosh, if we could all just be one, it's just Christian. Oh man, if all Christians could be one in truth, not compromise, not just Oh, I did forget it is Pentecost. Wow, that's a big deal, actually. So I don't know if you're familiar with the solemnity of Pentecost, celebrating the descent of the Holy Spirit, the giving of the Holy Spirit, 50 days after Christ's resurrection. It's basically, in a sense, the start of the church. Um, but yeah, that's tonight and tomorrow. Total Jesuit victory. Oh yeah, Saint Junipero Serra. Hey, I think I could be wrong. Pope Francis canonized him without two miracles. It was either no miracle or one miracle, which is pretty cool. He was a Jesuit that actually was he a Jesuit? I think he was a Jesuit, but yeah. Yes. So universal across time, not just geography. Yeah. So you're married with kids, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I just want to ask this, and then I don't want to get personal. So you don't have to answer this whatsoever. Because I converted. I wasn't always Catholic, and I was married. So that was a tricky thing, you know? Are you, how do I say this? Is your wife open and kind of with you on
So
this journey?
my
Or?
wife is also from an Orthodox Jewish background. We got married in Israel. She was moved to it faster than I was.
Oh.
And again, she has been incredibly moved by Mary specifically. I got her for Mother's Day. What's it called? Our Lady of Guadalupe icon. So there's that, and yeah, there's God has been incredibly merciful with me in that sense. That me and my wife were able to come to this together. It's funny. I get attacked by. I've never attacked my fellow Jews. I debunk Jewish theology, but because of that, I get attacked a lot now by people that know me personally, even saying that the reason I have started exploring Christianity is because I married a Christian and she's making me do it or something like that. It's like, bro, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Right. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
It's hurtful. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's not hurtful. I'm not going to be overly stoic about it. I got accused earlier today of somebody saying you're not one of us. It's like I served in the IDF. I spent almost 7 years of my life defending other Jewish people with my life. So to get the "you're not one of us anymore," I guess I'm not. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I will say, well, yeah, that's great. That's great. I would recommend 2 books, pretty easy read. Again, I'm just recommending them. You don't have to, whatever.
No, I
But
appreciate it.
yeah, Jesus and the Jewish Roots of the Eucharist. And what's the one on Mary called? Mary and the Jewish Roots of, oh gosh. It's escaping me. It's by the same author, Dr. Brent Petrie. And just considering your background, I think it would be really suitable because, I mean, it's going to be just laden and filled with Jewish roots, Jewish background, culture, tradition, all that stuff. Jesus and the Jewish Roots of Mary, and then Jesus and the Jewish Roots of the Eucharist. There we go. Thank you. Thank you for that. I mean, I don't know. That to me, just hearing you talk in your background, like that is like,
take a look.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you really want to, I'd send you a copy, but yeah, it's right up your alley, I think. But no
I'm breaking my head trying to get through the first several pages of the. I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but the Didache.
Oh no, yep.
So
people pronounce it differently, but yeah, the Didache.
I'm breaking my head over. It's really difficult to read.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at least you're going with the church fathers. It's, I would say, Saint Justin Martyr, Saint Ignatius of Antioch. They're really accessible, really easy. Saint Cyprian of Carthage, super easy to read. But yeah, you know what you're doing. I'm just throwing stuff out there.
I mean, people were laughing. They're like, of all people to start reading, you're reading John Chrysostom. I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with that? They're like,
yeah. Yeah, he's a champion, man, especially in the East. He is, yeah, he's one of the best. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, it's interesting. Those 3 names that I mentioned earlier about who was helping you overcome that obstacle, one of them is an expert on the papacy. And his name is Elijah Yassi, and he's going to be coming on my channel, on my stream. So if you're more than welcome to join us, because I mean, he's literally been studying this for 20 years. He knows his stuff more than I do. I mean, I know some stuff, but oh, there he is, Elijah. I don't know if you want to speak, dude. Speak his name, and then Elijah, I don't know if you want to come up now, no pressure, or we could just wait maybe. Again, I don't want to pressure you, Asher.
No pressure. I'm like the most easy. I come off as intense in my videos. I'm kind of an intense speaker, but I'm not an intense person. I'm pretty easygoing.
Yeah, I didn't think you were intense in your video. But you were a little different than you are right now. Not bad. Just I think it was just what you do for a video. You know what I mean? You're not
Right.
going to be like you are right now. Like that's just how we all are. But
You're also
yeah.
catching me in the evening after a cigar, so.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, you know, us Catholics, we love cigars, man.
I've heard it's one of the big things that moved me. I'm understanding that's a big part of the theology.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of cultish almost. I don't know. People are really.
It was interesting to find that out. I wouldn't have thought that before I knew anything about Catholicism. I was like, wow, all Catholics smoke cigars. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh gosh. So you don't have to tell me obviously your location, but are you in the States or?
I'm in the US, yeah.
Nice. Okay. And you're from Israel, like you grew up there?
I was born and raised in Canada.
Oh.
I moved to Israel on my own at a fairly young age, I guess. And then due to circumstances, decided to in 2022. We visited for a while. My wife's family is from here originally.
Okay.
And so we visited, stayed for a while, got stuck during COVID, went back to Israel, went back to work, and then visited again, and then decided to stay. So
Nice. And you have how many kids again?
3.
Oh, nice. Same here, man. Same
We
here.
got a bunch of birthdays coming up in the next few months.
Do you? Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, mine are 5, 3, and 1.
5, 3, and 1. I've got turning 4, turning 3, and turning 1.
Oh my goodness, dude. We're in the same situation almost.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Kids are something else, man. Does anybody in the chat have any questions for Asher? I gotta call you Asher, man. If that's okay.
That's fine. That's my name. I don't usually go by Ash. It was when I started off with the YouTube stuff, I was like, maybe I'll pseudonym this a little bit.
Yeah. Because I mean, you know, it's like Tribe of Israel, man. You got I love that, you know. You don't hear many kids name that these days. I know a few Ashers, but or Reuben, Naphtali.
Yeah. It's not that common, even in the Jewish world. It's not the most common name.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay. I love the name Judah. I actually know some kids named Judah. That's a good one.
Asher is good because it's the same in basically in Hebrew and in English translation. All the other ones have an English version and like a translated version. Like Asher is Asher, so it doesn't really change much from English to Hebrew.
Nice. All right. I have some questions for you from these guys if you're okay with it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't feel pressure like getting it wrong.
If I don't want to answer, I won't answer.
Yeah. All right. Washed and Sanctified says, what reservations, if any, do you have about the papacy?
So it wasn't even the papacy. That's actually one of the things that convinced me of Catholicism. It's specifically things recently said by popes and in the last 50 years. I actually, if I can share, I actually had a really moving experience. I said in one of my earlier videos, a full defense of Christianity from a faithless Jew. I came to this intellectually. I don't really feel like feelings of faith, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, coming from an Orthodox Jewish background, the name Jesus still has a negative psychological effect, which is very difficult for me. So I was very critical before believing in Pope Francis, and even after starting to believe, like incredibly critical politically and all kinds of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I had a moving experience of faith in any shape or form, and I think this might be the first time I'm publicly sharing this, or to anyone really. I was sitting outside. It was actually Easter, and I was smoking a cigar and just listening to music. I turned off the music and I was just kind of sitting there silently smoking a cigar, just like contemplating stuff. And suddenly, for the first time, I think ever in my life, I was just overwhelmed with like a very heavy feeling. I couldn't explain it, couldn't put my finger on it. I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky person overall. I don't really feel down ever usually or heavy like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really disturbing. I couldn't put my finger on it. And the next morning, woke up, checked the news, and Pope Francis had died. And I realized instantly that I was being rebuked for, as a new believer, how do I put it? Condemning and being critical of somebody who has been a servant of God their entire life. Agree with them, disagree with them, whatever aside. That was a really powerful experience for me, realizing that was totally out of place, and I was wrong to do that and think that way about somebody who's been a servant of God their entire life, even if I completely disagree with them.
Beautiful. Wow. I don't know. You took me back a little bit there, but because I was the biggest Pope Francis fan, and I had to come into the church just to experience my fellow brethren just attack him and slander him, for 13 years. And like you said, he just died. And I remember seeing just the other day, like 2 days ago, someone on Twitter posting a picture of Pope Francis and making a public apology saying, "Lord, forgive me. I'm so sorry for the things that I've said and felt about Pope Francis during his pontificate." And I think people are like, and people are like coming to their senses, like, why did I buy all the lies and the propaganda against Pope Francis? Why didn't I just use critical thinking skills, go to the sources themselves, and not let the media and other people think for me? So I think that's very commendable that you have that, or you had that attitude and felt that way.
I mean, that's led me recently to be humbled and think differently about a lot of people that I may have had negative views before in a way that I haven't thought of before. So
yeah,
I guess it's true. Your heart does change in that. Like it or
yeah,
not.
yeah. I think we had another question. I'm trying to go back up here. Oh, sorry. Asher, what's your opinion on the Dead Sea Scrolls? Well, that's actually kind of a good question.
I'm not super knowledgeable. I know that they do affirm a lot of things about Christianity that were how do I say, dismissed as church tradition before, that was then validated. I don't know a whole lot about the Dead Sea Scrolls. I actually am interviewing somebody tomorrow morning who is more knowledgeable on that, but we're going to be sticking a lot to Rabbinic Judaism and that topic. But maybe I'll bring up the Dead Sea Scrolls and how that ties into things and try to get some answers from him about that, because I'm not really knowledgeable about that at all.
Sure. I'm sorry. Someone's hounded me for Billy. I'm trying to find your question. Let's see.
Is it the one that asked why Eastern Catholic?
Oh, here we go. Sorry, Billy. I honestly didn't see it. He must believe in Jesus now. Had any experiences with Christ, maybe through prayer? If that makes sense.
I get the question. I still have not. No.
Okay. Thanks for answering these. Let's see here. I know someone asked about Pope Leo the 14th. Oh, what does Asher think of Pope Leo the 14th?
No opinion, really. I'm gonna take the lesson that I learned and keep my mouth shut.
Yep. Amen, brother. No unjust suspicions, no rash judgments. Just give him the benefit of the doubt. I think you kind of answered this. How's his family taking it? I think yeah.
Family, I don't really have a problem with. I've had some interesting conversations with my dad recently, and yeah, there's probably some of the best conversations I've had with my dad in a very long time, actually. So,
Is he practicing Jew?
yeah, he is.
Okay. Do you eat kosher?
Not for a very long time. I gave up on Rabbinic Judaism long before learning anything about Christianity. It kind of all came crashing down like a house of cards. My blinders were pulled off. So it's actually funny now in the Christian context, I understand it better. than I did even before, when I was, first giving up on it. So
this is one of the best questions I've had on this channel. Absolutely. I don't know if this is, I think it might be for me. I mean, you could absolutely chime in on this, but that is a great question. Excuse me. I mean, just youth in general, let alone LGBT youth, right? And with the LGBT youth, they're gonna experience some more marginalization, and maybe some discrimination and stuff like that, and just the struggles of figuring themselves out and who they are. And gosh, I mean, this is how I would answer it. And it's going to be kind of superficial on the surface, but you got to be present to them. You got to love them. You got to accept them, not their lifestyle, not their actions and choices and stuff like that. But you really, really, I mean, they're vulnerable. They're going through hormonal stuff. You really got to make sure that they feel loved unconditionally and just live a life of holiness too. I don't think you're going to do much with rhetoric and persuasion when it comes to them. You know what I mean? I think that might push them further away. I mean, I know it's an oversimplified answer, but I mean, you really got to love them. You can't be telling them, gosh, what's wrong with you? You got to love them out of their, illusions or disordered inclinations. Words, when appropriate, yeah, but you can't convince them or try to, use rhetoric or whatever. But that's a good question, man. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Here you go. Here's a good question. Tanner says, "Why do you think it is that so many Jewish people go secular? Am I imagining this, or is it an actual trend?"
So the majority of Jews in the world are not observant. Many people are only culturally connected. And there's a long history of why that is. It's not to get too deep into it, but in response to persecution in Europe for a very long time, a lot of Jewish people thought that adopting secular mindset during the Enlightenment and being involved in academia would protect them from persecution, which it functionally did, but it took people away from observant Judaism. And another big aspect was I think it was the 16th century, there was a character named Shabtai Tzvi. Have you ever heard that name?
Nope.
He was a Jewish man in the Turkish Jewish community who claimed to be the Messiah. And a Kabbalist from Gaza named Natan of Gaza, who was like his John the Baptist, basically took him around the Jewish world talking about him being the Messiah using Kabbalistic ideas. They would actually violate the Torah commands as a way to elevate sin, like really crazy stuff. He basically deceived like a third of the Jewish world at the time.
Yikes.
People were following him. People were selling their houses and all their possessions to go with him to Israel. He destroyed people's, like, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people's lives. And eventually the Sultan in Turkey got really pissed off at him and told him, and realized that first of all, the Sultan realized that he's mentally ill, like people were using him, and gave him the ultimatum: you can convert to Islam or we can kill you here publicly. And he converted to Islam, and it like shattered the Jewish world. Like, so there's a group of Jews in Turkey today who are still waiting for the second coming of Shabtai Tzvi. Like,
is that right?
Yeah, it's a very small group of people, but it's literally it's insane. In response to that, people were very suspicious of anything spiritual, esoteric, Kabbalistic, Messiah, anything at all in Judaism after that, and drove a lot of people further towards the secular Enlightenment. The spiritual side of Judaism was only really rekindled with the Hasidic Jewish movement starting in like the late 1700s. I come from a Chabad background, which is one of the early Hasidic movements. they kind of were able to mix the spirituality with the practical, legalistic side of Judaism in a way where people could be normal and observant of Jewish tradition without getting into crazy stuff like that. Although the fruits of that today is that there's another messianic Jewish movement in the world today with Chabad, where they believe that Menachem Mendel Schneerson, who died in 1994, is going to come back as the Messiah also. So pretty interesting stuff there. But it's basically, I think, a combination of persecution leading people to want to distance themselves from Judaism on a religious sense, and then also people being very wary of the mystical, weird stuff that took place during that time period, created a really big academic, secular mindset in the Jewish community.
Man, I've never heard of any of this, and it's like sensationalizing doomsday stuff, because we have a lot of that in some of our Protestant sects. They're really infatuated with our Lord coming back, and they take the Old Testament prophecies like really literally. So like camels and gold and all this other, but yeah, that's wow. I've never heard of that.
I had somebody telling me when I first moved here, they're like, "Oh, you're Jewish. We love the Jewish people," and they're telling me all about Jesus and end time stuff. And that was immediately followed with how they stole a really fancy Bible from a garage sale. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow, I never heard of that. That's just, yeah. But yeah, Andrew says, I hope he connects with the Association of Hebrew Catholics. We're all Jewish Catholics, if that helps you out. I don't know too much about that, so I can't.
I haven't really looked into it yet. So a few people have told me about that, and I am interested. The thing is, people think that because I'm coming from a Jewish background that I want to I do find a lot of beauty in Jewish culture still, with different things. So I do want to be connected with that, I guess, just on a cultural level, just familial and whatever. But like right now, my goal is to learn about what it is that I'm getting into and what it is that I'm becoming part of. So at some point, I'll probably connect with that just because I think that's really cool. But
yeah. Gideon Lazar. So I know he's got a YouTube channel. Daniel, is that YouTube channel called Gideon Lazar?
I've heard of him as well. I just haven't had the time to look him up yet.
And I forget what he specializes in, but a lot of people say he's really good stuff. And yeah, and you mentioned before that there's an Eastern Catholic Church in your area, correct?
Yeah.
Which is, in a sense, not quite the same, but Eastern Orthodox, but with the communion with the Bishop of Rome. So
right. That's why I liked it. I mean, being like the idea that first of all, it is part of the Catholic Church, and then just being an old liturgy. Like I think just on a aesthetic level, I would probably like that. I mean, I would probably like being there. And then the other thing was, and I asked a few people about this, and apparently the creed there does not include the filioque aspect to it, which is not a make it or I don't have an opinion on that because I don't understand it. So for the time being, I thought that would be maybe prudent because I haven't looked into it. If they're part of the Catholic Church, that's good. And if I'm not understanding something about that to the level or depth that I would want to, I think I would that felt right to me to go with that. I still haven't gone yet. That's the thing. I'm still deciding between the two.
Sure. Yeah, oh gosh, I don't think you don't want me to start on the filioque, man. We would be here for another few hours, so I might just I will say this though, that Saint John Paul II, or Pope John Paul II, when he was alive, there were certain times that he would recite the Nicene Creed without the filioque for ecumenical purposes with Eastern Orthodox. So there's nothing wrong inherently with omitting it, just like the Eastern Catholics, But I think when the Eastern Orthodox, they get really hung up on the theology of it and all that jazz. I don't know did we have another question in here? Ray Schumann? I don't know who that is.
Another name that's popped up a few times that I haven't had the chance to look up.
Yeah. I don't know who that is, but yeah. Yeah. That's I'm sorry, that's kind of funny. Will your menorahs end up at a garage sale? Sorry.
Yeah, I'll still use that because I think it's a really nice cultural tradition.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say there's nothing wrong with having a menorah.
Can you give me 1 second?
Yeah.
Could you get my charger downstairs? Thank you. My wife is looking at me like, who are you talking to?
Oh, funny. Yeah. Bet she wasn't expecting you to come on a channel, huh?
Yeah. I wasn't expecting me to come on a channel. I'm scrolling through YouTube and I see my face on a thumbnail. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, yeah, that thumbnail. I should
No, it's good. It's like I don't have a problem with it. I was just like surprised. I was taken back. I'm not used to this, honestly.
Yeah. Wait, this isn't the first channel you've actually come up and talked on, is it?
I've popped in like open panel stuff. I was invited onto God Logic to defend against polemics from the rabbinic Jewish side, and that was pretty fun. I made I've been attacked because I mistranslated one word from Hebrew when I was quoting something from scripture, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. No, because I saw that you tagged Joe Heschmeyer, Trent Horn. Who else?
I thought it would be really interesting to have a talk with Trent Horn because I didn't realize, or maybe I knew, but I had forgotten that he's Jewish.
Yes, half. I think he's half. Yeah,
or half Jewish.
Yep. Yeah. Well, if you want to talk to him, I can hook it up. I collaborated with him.
I would love to.
Yeah, like a month ago. So,
and I hear he's also Eastern Catholic, right?
I think he's Byzantine. Yeah, I think so. I don't quote me on that, but pretty sure he is. So yeah, that he's your man to talk to. Honestly, I mean, just considering he's an Eastern Catholic of Jewish descent.
So he's one when I talked about when I first came to the U.S. and I was suddenly everyone was talking about the resurrection on all these podcasts, and then I guess the algorithm did it where it fed me Trent Horn debunking Tuvia Singer on the resurrection.
So the Singer person, I don't know I've heard of the name, and
Can I be very controversial? I guess it's going to be taken well here.
He has a pretty large fan base, subscriber count, right?
A lot of his fans are not Jewish. They're what's called Noahides. Do you know that term?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Dude, oh gosh.
Man, it's a cult. I mean, I saw a video of somebody talking about how great of a mitzvah or righteous deed or commandment they fulfilled, donating a kidney to a rabbi's son.
Yeah, I
if that doesn't trigger alarm bells.
He's the guy that's, I mean, he's pretty articulate and well spoken, right?
Oh, he's a genius.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
about. People saying that he doesn't understand the Hebrew or he doesn't understand. I'm pretty sure he knows the Greek pretty well too. He's a smart man. Like he's really smart, and which is why I say he's a snake, because this is not accidental or misguided.
Man. Oh man, yeah. I came
across pushed me towards Christianity. My conversation with him.
There you go.
I don't know if he realizes that.
He's a good Christian apologist. Yeah, I saw one video of his, and it was cuckoo stuff, man. It felt conspiratorial, like conspiracy theory stuff. I'm not into that, but yeah.
I see even here in your chat, like, how many times can you use the straw man? Christians believe God is a man, like without any further explanation or elaboration on that.
Yeah.
Like, is that?
It's a stumbling block. I mean, it says that right in the scriptures, the fact that God could assume a human nature and be crucified and die. It's a stumbling block for the Jews.
Well, they also they misuse verses. I mean, there's a verse that says, is God a man? Like, no, but the full verse is God a man that he should lie or deceive you? Or it's not about the nature ontologically of God. It's about, will he lie to you or deceive you?
Right.
It's not making an ontological claim.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike says, his last name is Say. Mike says, Asher, have you thought of reading the Catechism? Catechism of Catholic Church.
Little bits and pieces at a time, because it's really long and boring.
Yeah, it's, a lot of people, they use it as a reference. It's not something to just plow through or whatever.
No, I take it in one paragraph at a time increments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Honestly, like I said, I'm trying to, like, once in a while, reading through early church fathers. I had it on my Kindle, but now I just do it on my phone when I can. But like this is all breaking my head as far as like trying to get through some of the harder material.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty good with reading comprehension, and it's tough material.
Yeah. Are you feeling overwhelmed or no?
Not particularly. I know that it's going to be a lifetime journey, and so I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, because I mean, Catholicism, dude, it's infinite. There,
Yeah.
With doctors, saints, writings, just everything. It's just, there's no end to it. There's no way you could exhaust it, which is a good thing, but in a different sense, it might be, daunting or whatever. But do you, how can we do this? Do you know how to go into the private chat? So if you want to type private chat, your email, or because I couldn't find your email. I was actually going to email you, but I honestly just couldn't find it.
Channel description, but I'll write it out for you here, I guess. Here.
Yeah, and then I can
have like a public one that people can reach me out there in the channel description.
Sure. Yeah, I'll get a hold of Trent. I know you tagged him, but I think Trent would love to. Oops, there he goes. Guys, what's going on in the chat? Are you guys subscribed yet? Please subscribe. Consider becoming a member. All that jazz.
So I'm on my phone, and that I swiped by mistake.
That's all good, dude. I got it though. I got your email. Yeah. So yeah, I'll definitely forward this to Trent. He would be a good one to talk to for sure. He has decades of Christian apologetic experience, very philosophical, and all that good stuff. Okay. Did you have any, I don't know, did you have any thoughts, questions, concerns about anything? Or
I mean, I'm going to over and over and over again, I'm sure. I appreciate you having me on.
yeah.
That was quite the surprise there. Yeah, I think I kind of sorted through most of the issues I was having over the last little while, last 6-7 months. Like I said, a lot of the things that are blocks for people maybe coming from a Protestant background to the Catholic Church were not stumbling blocks for me.
Yeah.
Like icons and intercession of saints and all that kind of stuff. So the papacy is not in and of itself an issue for me. In fact, I think it's a beneficial thing. So it was specifically that issue, because coming from my background, I'm like, I hear people saying, maybe misguidedly quoting things out of context, that all religions equally can be a path to God, and so on and so forth. I'm like, it's not true. And I can't be part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that was resolved for me today, pretty definitively.
Wonderful. I mean, there are very nuanced things in Vatican II, and by extension, what popes will say, that scandalize, even Catholics. I can't tell you how many Catholics don't understand the nuances of what you were struggling with initially. It takes a lot of, I don't know, if you really want to understand it, it takes a lot of study, docility, and prayer, and you can't just I don't know. But I'm glad you got it resolved, because I did a reaction to your video in a nice charitable way, and I explained why these sayings, like with Pope Francis, all religions are paths to God, and why the Christians believe in the same God as Muslims and Jews. So yeah, you don't have to go back and watch it, but it'll be up there. but yeah, I'm so glad you got that resolved. That's great. That's wonderful. Yeah, a lot of people, can we reiterate once again how nice a guy Asher is, and we will be praying for him.
Thank you.
Tyler here praying for this brother tonight. That's the best thing about doing this, man, is I'll get someone like you up here, and then I'll get everyone to pray for that person. You know what I mean? Like, we can do apologetics, we can debate, we can all this other stuff, but when it really comes down to it, man, you know, just wanting us to all.
I've seen the effect of other people's prayers in my life, even when I'm being a stubborn know-it-all who knows better than everyone else. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Unless you have anything else you'd want to add or ask me, I should probably.
Yeah, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you coming on here. Thank you. And yeah, absolutely, you're welcome, man. It was a blessing. I know all these people in here were edified by, what you said and your story and your background and what you're going through. So, yeah, man, definitely we'll be praying for you. You can count on that. So.
Yeah, and if you ever want to reach out, be in touch, anything like that, I'd be happy to have another conversation.
Oh my gosh, yeah, totally. I will, but I really think, Trent Horn is one of the best. There are a couple others that I would maybe like to see you maybe hook up with. That'd be like Elijah Yassi, maybe even Christian Wagner, but
yeah, I saw Elijah Yassi, I think it was yesterday on with William, and those guys are brilliant. Like, watching their stuff has been a real help to understanding things.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Just know we have an arsenal, we have a bunch of different people that are different personalities and that they all specialize in different things, so we're all on it together to help everybody. So, all right, Asher, it's good to talk with you, my friend.
Thank you so much. And I'll hop out here. Thank you.
Yeah, God bless you, man.